first thing I want to show you is how to thread a needle. So when we're using embroidery thread and sewing either our stuffies or a pincushion or something with felt, we're going to be using thicker thread. So we also need to use a needle that has a bigger eye. So this is a little bit thicker and sturdier than a regular hand sewing needle because our thread is going to be thicker as well. Okay, so for a thread, we have two choices. So we have thread that comes like this. This is a skein of embroidery thread, or we have thread that comes on a ball like this. So this thread is actually used to crochet, but I find it is really economical to buy in class. You can see that we get a whole lot of it, and it comes in a variety of colors. And then for more specific colors, I like to use this stuff. With the spool of thread, with this thread, it does not separate. So this is, I think, like 2 or 3 pieces of thread that are twisted together to form one. But this one is actually 6 strands and it's very loosely twisted together. So if I unravel it a little bit here, you can see that you can separate it. So I have 3 strands in one hand and 3 in the other hand. You can get a friend to hold the end of your thread and then very gently twist it apart, and then you'll get 2 sets. So that way we can make our thread last a little longer. It will also make threading the needle a little bit easier. Okay, so now we are going to thread the needle. So the needle here, you can see the eye of the needle is pretty big, but our thread is also really big. So what I'm going to do, there's 2 different ways I can thread the needle. So the first way is I'm going to get it a little damp in some water and then trim it. Okay, so I got it damp, and now I'm just going to trim it with my thread shears. Okay, and then I'm going to use my fingers and I'm going to kind of smush down that end so it's nice and flat. And see how there's a little thread sticking off of that now? So I'm just going to use my shears again and trim it one more time so it's nice and sharp. So if you want to compare it to the other end of the thread, you can see the other end's like puffy. It's going to be a little bit harder to get through the eye of the needle. So now my thread is nice and sharp and flat. I'm just going to put it through the eye, and sometimes you have to flatten it out again. Okay, so I just barely got it through, and instead of coming from the back here, I'm going to put it over to the side and pull it like that. Okay, so that's one way of threading the needle. The other way is you can grab a needle threader. So I have 2 different types. There's one needle threader that has a little wire like this, and there's another one that has a hook. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the wire or the hook and put it through the eye of the needle like that, and then you're going to take your thread and you're going to put it through the wire like this. Okay, so now you have the eye of the needle over here, you have the wire, and then the thread. So what I like to do is I'll hold the thread with my right hand, or my left hand, sorry. So I'll hold the thread with my left hand, and then I'll hold my needle in my left hand in between the index finger and thumb, and then with my right hand, I'll just take this. And now the wire went through really easily, but you might have to kind of wiggle and pull to get the thread through. And when I was doing that, I was holding right here with the wire. What normally happens with these needle threaders is that this wire will get pulled out. You can see here, there's kind of like a little piece of metal right here that just holds the wire in. So oftentimes this wire will just get pulled right out.